I was assigned to a house that doesn't exist. Now the HOA wants me back. You ask me why I left. Why someone like me, clean record, stable position, decades of loyalty to the board, would vanish from the trust circle overnight. You think it's about money, or maybe about power. It's not. It's about the house on Delmere Ridge, Unit 12B, the one we never put on the maps, the one the circle keeps quiet. I never believed in ghosts, not until I became one. Let me start from the beginning. My name doesn't matter. Let's just say I spent 12 years working inside the HOA Trust Circle, first as an operations coordinator, then compliance, eventually director of internal audits. I knew every property file, every permit request, every resident who ever filed a noise complaint because a lawnmower started 3 minutes early. That's how we kept order. That was the job. But there were always exceptions. Legacy files, we called them. Properties that predated full integration. Old titles that didn't match modern schematics. Addresses that didn't align with the digital grid. Most of them were harmless, except for one. Delmere Ridge was annexed into Phase 4 of the Trust Circle project in 2015. Beautiful row, modern homes, great slope for drainage, high resale value. But 12B never sold. It was the only structure built directly over the fault line where the old community center burned down in 1996. Internally, we marked it as non-assignable. Externally, we said it was still under development. But the lights in 12B never went out, and the cameras we placed outside always picked up more movement than we could explain. It became my problem when the new resident at 12A submitted an anonymous report. I can hear someone whispering behind the wall. He thought it was a raccoon nest. I sent extermination services. They came back pale and said the crawl space didn't match the house layout. Said there was a third door they hadn't installed, just a hatch bolted shut with no hinges. They didn't open it. Smart. I filed a maintenance delay and locked the report. But that night, the footage from 12A's backyard showed someone climbing out of the storm vent behind 12B. We checked the roster. No registered residents. We ran facial recognition. No match. Langston told me to classify it under protocol veil. That's the circle's code for something we deny exists while continuing to monitor it in real time. I should have stopped there. But curiosity has teeth. I dug into the records. Turns out 12B was originally home to a man named Victor Helm, former Circle board member, dismissed in 2003 for ideological divergence. His file was thin, too thin. No forwarding address, no formal expulsion notice, just a note in red pending return. Return to what? I went to the house during daylight, said I was conducting a soil test, standard HOA procedure. I knew the passcode to the gate, but it didn't matter. The door was already unlocked. The air inside 12B was dense, like a building that had been sealed for decades, even though the record said it was cleaned monthly. Furniture covered in sheets, walls freshly painted, but no smell of paint, no dust, no life, just observation. Every mirror had been removed. Every clock was stuck at 4:03. I reached the upstairs hallway. There were 6 doors. Floor plan said there should only be 4. 2 were false, just flat panels mounted to the wall. But the fifth door opened. I remember the sound. Not the creak of hinges, but something deeper, like a room inhaling. Inside was a single object, a chair, facing a wall of blank TV screens. Except they weren't blank. They were off, yes, but they reflected light from a source that wasn't in the room. I could see shapes moving, slowly, deliberately, behind my own reflection. I turned. Nothing there. I looked back. One screen had turned on. It showed me, standing in the room, but from behind, and I was not alone. I ran. I didn't tell anyone, not Langston, not Patricia, but that night, my ID badge was disabled. my access to the audit room revoked, and someone filed an anonymous violation report under my name for unauthorized internal movement. Circle had turned on me, but it wasn't over. 2 nights later, I got a call. Private number, no voice, just a recording. It was my own voice, muffled. A note left on my pillow. One word. Return, I knew what it meant. Victor Helm wasn't a ghost. He was a blueprint, a trial version. And now, the Circle had tagged me as next in line. I tried to resign. Langston met me in person, said nothing, just handed me a black envelope with my name in gold foil. Inside, a new address assignment, Unit 12B, effective immediately. I never went home again. I never packed my things. I just walked. I crossed the perimeter, left my car running at the gate. I haven't looked back. But sometimes, at night, I still hear it. That sound behind the wall, that soft hum at 4:03, and I know they're watching me. Not because they're looking, but because they're remembering. You asked me what happened after I left. The truth is, I didn't. Not really. The Circle has a way of keeping you, long after you walk away. It doesn't follow you with agents or threats. It doesn't need to. It just rewrites what's real, until you're not sure what you're remembering and what it's remembering for you. The day after I disappeared, I got an email. No sender, no subject, just a location pin. It was on the east edge of the old district, where the Circle began before we called it that, before the walls, before the codes. There used to be a park there. Now it was a demolition zone, new development, except there was one house left standing, still boarded up, no permits, no utilities, the kind of house we usually wipe from the map and call non-viable. But it wasn't abandoned. There was light behind the boards, a flickering blue glow, like an old CRT monitor. I knew what it was before I even stepped inside. Another memory node, a place the Circle had turned into a vault, not for people, for their echoes. The air smelled like static, the walls were padded, but not for sound. I stepped through the main room and saw the setup. Monitors, analog servers, reels of tape labeled with initials and dates. Everything recorded in real time, everything archived. I found one labeled VH12B Remarket Dat. Victor Helm, the one who vanished, the one I thought they'd absorbed or buried. I played it. It wasn't footage. It was dialogue, a one-sided interview. Why did you agree to come back? Because it never left me. What did you see behind the fifth door? The trial version, the seed. It spoke in my voice. Did it tell you your role? Yes, I was just the rehearsal. The structure was always meant for someone else. They're building new nodes, each with its own victor, each with its own watcher, each with its own me. And the worst part? I think they're beginning to talk to each other. I traced a signal from 12B's server node to a private relay bouncing between 3 districts. Encrypted packets, voice fragments. I decoded one. Have you seen her? She remembers. She wasn't supposed to. Another. We lost control of the threshold. Initiate fallback observer. And the final one, sent just 12 minutes ago while I'm recording this. Return complete. Pattern accepted. Cycle locked. They think they've won, but I haven't told them everything. I still have one tape they don't know I copied. I'm leaving it with you. If you're reading this, it means I'm gone. Not dead, just repurposed. But maybe that's what the Circle wanted all along. Not to destroy its enemies, to convert them, to fold them into the perimeter, to make them useful. One final voice in the walls whispering at 4:03.
HOA files don't stay closed. Some addresses were never supposed to exist. Subscribe before your neighborhood changes.